Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tom Baker Show. It is great to be back with you. We are excited to be here wherever you are watching us from. We're happy to have you. We hope you'll stay a while because, oh my word, do we have a lot to talk about on this show. And of course, Jacob Seelman back with us once again. And Jacob, we had on the morning of this show, we had a bombshell announcement that pertains to the IndyCar series that I don't think anyone really was expecting. But I'm curious to talk about this with you. Why don't you tell us what's going on?
Well, for starters, I am glad that this is where we're driving the boat to start, because when I woke up this morning, I was not expecting at 9:26 a.m. to have my eyeballs just about ripped out of my head when I got an email from IndyCar Communications that, oh, hello, Penske Entertainment has sold a 1/3 ownership stake to Fox Corporation. Yes, that Fox, as in Fox Sports, which is the media partner to the IndyCar series, IMS, etc., etc. It was a moment that made us all slam on the brakes, stop, and go, oh, wait a minute. We are sure we're reading this correctly, right? And after about 3 trips over the press release, I finally believed it. So, yes, in fact, Fox has purchased a 1/3 stake in IndyCar, which of course includes the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And you know, I sat back on my hands for a second and thought about this and said, well, this answers one question about where the eventual succession plan is, because Roger Penske is 88 years old. He's not getting any younger, although he certainly does not act 88. He keeps himself very, very busy. My response is this is a good thing for IndyCar's future. You say what?
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, this may be the thing that ultimately saves the IndyCar series and makes it relevant once again, because this series has not been it has been a distant third in the US in terms of popularity behind NASCAR and F1 for quite some time. And so I'm super pumped to see Fox getting involved. And for those who want to compare it to Liberty Media and F1 or NASCAR and the big TV deal, it's not comparable to either. This is actually Fox buying an ownership stake in the series, and Fox has cable and networks to actually broadcast the events. Liberty Media doesn't. And of course, NASCAR's relationship with Fox and the other TV networks they're involved with, broadcast networks, is purely a partnership. They're being paid by the networks for the rights to broadcast the races. So this is a completely different deal, Jacob. The only thing that I'm going to, and I guess I need you to clarify what you were thinking about on this part of your point, but I'm going to slightly disagree that I don't know that this necessarily is a succession plan. I think that's probably been in place for a while. You got, Bowles and other folks in that organization that certainly somebody, whether it's Penske's son or somebody, is going to be ready to take all that over. But I think from the broadcast standpoint, the media standpoint, IndyCar has sucked at promotion for decades. This is not a new thing. So this changes everything, Jacob, when it comes to the quality and hopefully the energy of the promotion. We need more people to know that IndyCar still exists and know that when the races are happening. And now Fox has got a stake in it, so they have a reason to really kick butt even more than they already are.
I hope that is the truth, and I hope they follow through with that, because my immediate thought was, okay, good. This means that IndyCar might not actually be dead. I wouldn't even call stagnant. It's been dead promotionally over the last, I'd say, 2 years, give or take, and just not like you said, not even close when it comes to NASCAR, etc. So to stop and think about the fact that yes, Fox now has skin in the game when it comes to not just promoting from a television standpoint, but promoting to make sure there are butts in seats at racetracks when IndyCar is racing is a huge, huge, huge deal. And I hope they take it and run with it, because if they don't, I fear for what IndyCar will look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or whether it will even still exist. And yes, I have had conversations with people that raised those kinds of questions before today's deal.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it definitely. I mean, look, Roger is a great businessman, and he certainly knows how to build a competitive race team. Although, and see, I think a lot of what's happened, and I might have mentioned this last week, is I think that Penske just took on too much with this acquisition that he made a few years ago, and started dropping the ball in some areas, and now you see that reflected in the status of his own IndyCar team, and all the issues that they've had. And the NASCAR team, I won't say they've slipped, but they've certainly had some issues. But I think that Roger, now with Fox coming in, hopefully this will allow his group to get back to focusing on what they should be. But they've never been good at promotion. IndyCar hasn't had good promotion in a long time. Remember, this is the same sort of body of racing that once had Gene Simmons of Kiss as their face. That's not
Oh,
exactly a
don't even
recipe for.
remind me. Don't even remind me about that.
I
That
mean,
was
you
no,
know,
no.
it's been one miserable failure after another when it comes to promotion. I think the only thing I'm not liking is I'm seeing some things on social that that indicate that Fox may want to take it in the direction of more sort of you know street events, Long Beach type street events. And that is
I will
definitely not
cry if
cool for
that
me.
happens.
I
No,
I
I will
hope not.
cry
They
if
need
that
more
happens.
ovals. Indy cars are
Yes.
wasted on street courses. You're talking about a car that can go 230 miles an hour, and you're putting it for half the year. You're putting it on courses where they're doing 90 to 120 in a lot of the course, and they're trying not to bump into Jersey barriers. I mean, I think they need to take themselves more seriously. And balance the schedule again, go back to some more high speed ovals. I know the street courses are sexy. That's the new thing. It's the in crowd for the young group. I get it. And I'm okay with that. But again, have some balance in the schedule, and bring back some more oval tracks.
I agree with that, and I will throw one quick nugget out at you, because we tossed out a rumor on the last show that I, at the time, debunked because I couldn't figure out how it could possibly be true, about hearing rumblings of a possible Xfinity team coming back in the Penske department. Well, $135 million from Fox would at least solve the financial issue of a Penske Xfinity team coming back. Now, whether that's still a smart idea, I sincerely doubt, but we'll digress on that. I just figured I'd throw that little thing to think about out there. Big item number two, and this has been kind of a week-long thing that both you and I have been following, is the injury in a very scary dirt modified crash at Canada's Autodrome Drummond for NASCAR Truck Series driver Stewart Friesen at the beginning of the week. And I I've never seen anything quite like this. In fact, it gave me vibes to describe the crash, which I know has seen some social media time. Thankfully, not nearly as much as maybe you would expect in a situation like this, but it gave me vibes of the Ryan Newman crash at Daytona when
Yeah.
his car was hit in the middle of the air by Corey LaJoie at the time. Stewart got up over the cushion, started flipping. There was fire, and then the car was basically pile driven in midair by another car, about split the chassis in two. He ended up amazingly no worse than this. A open book pelvic fracture and a broken right leg out of all this in a crash where when the car first came to rest, I said, I don't know how he's still alive in there. So, thankfully, not worse than what it is. But Tom, the big news here is those kind of injuries are not a quick fix. We're talking minimum 3 to 4 months recovery time. So that's
Yeah.
going to end Stewart's NASCAR season. We figure they'll put somebody in the truck to run for the owner playoffs because that's where the money is. But I want to say, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. I've seen a lot of people on social media this week go, oh, well, these NASCAR teams should have in their contracts that drivers can't race other stuff. Newsflash, hello, Stewart Friesen is the owner of both the truck team
Yeah.
and his dirt modified team. This is how he makes a living. He was going to race this whether anybody told him yes, no, or indifferent. And it's his team, so he wasn't going to tell himself no.
Well, I mean, again, you're right. You got to understand HFR is Hallmark Friesen Racing. Okay. So, as you say, Jacob, he is the owner of the team or part owner of the team, at least half owner of the team. And I think the whole team was built around the modified deal to begin with. The truck series, I think, happened
It was, yep.
after the fact. Yeah. And so, and honestly, um, I I don't know this for a fact, but common sense would tell me understanding the sort of expenses and all of that versus the purse of the truck series team and trying to operate that. Even Kyle Busch was losing money every year. I would be willing to bet that without the money he wins in the modified, it would be very difficult to continue doing the truck deal.
Exactly.
So these in his case, the two of them are tied together as part of the business model of the entire organization. So
Exactly.
this I'm not saying that he may not make a decision to cut back on something going forward. Who knows? But it would be just that. It would be him making a decision to do it, and certainly not there. There will be no orders from above because there's nobody above him.
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah,
and
and I mean,
I do want to say I do want to say real fast though, in that vein, that we had an update as early as about 6 hours before the taping of this show that Stu's wife Jessica basically ended off in saying or implying that he's going to be back in a race car. There it is. This will likely not be a quick journey, but we continue to work to get Stewart back at the top of his game on track where he belongs. So to me, that says there is no world where Stewart Friesen doesn't recover from this and get back in a race car, whether that's a truck, a dirt modified, or
sure.
both. And I would expect nothing less. Stu is so passionate about this and about everything that he does. I mean, this is his living. This is his life. This is what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. I would see him still running both the dirt car and
Yeah.
the truck. I don't necessarily, as far as we know now with the information we have, I see no reason that he can't recover 100% from this with time. And that accident was such a freak accident, and the
It was.
scenario
Yep. Absolutely.
I don't know how you could ever repeat that. So I'm thinking at this point that it's probably highly likely that he comes back and does the exact same thing he's been doing. Our thoughts and prayers are with Stewart and Jessica. We wish him well in his recovery. We want it to be full, if not speedy, and want to see him back racing whatever it is he wants to race as soon as he can possibly do it, which we would think probably sometime in early 2026 at this point. So
Yep.
we'll wait and see who ends up in his truck. We are going to take a break here. When we come back, we've got a lot more to talk about, a lot of stuff going on in NASCAR. We had a massive penalty, and we had a Bubba win at Indy, and much more. So we're going to talk about that right after these words.
For race fans across the United States, getinthestands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to getinthestands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. Getinthestands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to getinthestands.com. Getinthestands.com, your racetrack directory.
For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
Welcome back to the show, and this show is always being brought to you by Radical Race Gear. It is important. If you're going to be a champion, you really should look like one, I think. And I have known Butch Lamb from Radical Race Gear since we were in middle school together, and that's a long time because I'm old. He still has more hair than me, and he does a great job with everything he does. If you need customized driver gear, driver suits, you need sublimated crew shirts, if you need a customized pop-up tent, you need a carpet for your trailer with your sponsor on it or your team logo, he can do all of that. They got shoes, they got all kinds of stuff. RadicalRaceGear.com really is the place to go if you want to look like a champion. And I encourage you to go there as soon as this show's over. RadicalRaceGear.com. Okay, we're going to start this next segment with a new feature on this show, the Seelman Stat of the Week, because I know of no more of a stat boy than Jacob Seelman when it comes to all kinds of motorsports. Jacob, what have you got for us this week?
What I have this week circles back to the Brickyard 400 from the most recent NASCAR Cup Series stop at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and a shout out to four-time Indy 500 starter and now NASCAR driver Katherine Legge, who did a bang-up job in the Brickyard 400, stayed out of trouble, kept her car clean, finished 17th, which marked the best Brickyard 400 finish by a female driver since 2017, 8 years ago, when Danica Patrick finished 11th in that race. And the part of the stat that I think is a little even more important than that, the best ever non-drafting track finish for Live Fast Motorsports in team history, which to me is a massive statement for BJ McLeod and that whole operation, the 78 team, because yes, their budget is not what the major teams are. And to do what they were able to do to finish on the lead lap at a tough track for stock cars in Indianapolis, and with a driver who doesn't have but one oval start in her NASCAR Cup Series career. Hello, could we please get some testing, Tom, for Katherine Legge? Because I swear, if she could ever get enough track time to feel comfortable in a given weekend, she'd be brilliant.
You're exactly right. I agree with you totally. People don't realize that Katherine Legge has been racing for a long, long time. She's run IndyCars, she's run IMSA. She's got a lot of racing experience, and her NASCAR experience up to now has all been in cars that are back of the pack cars pretty much. And again, taking nothing away from BJ McLeod. And by the way, BJ is really having a great time right now. You just keep in mind that, he was the guy. Lev Fast was the team that sold the charter to Spire a couple years back for, about $40 million. So BJ's having fun, and it's great to see Katherine Legge having success like that. I mean, she took advantage of the opportunity. Some cars obviously dropped out, but for the most part, she just hung on and was consistent enough to finish mid-pack, and that is to her credit. And I'm happy for her.
Absolutely, for sure. No, I'm happy for her too, and I would love to see her be able to continue to build and get better and better, because I think she
Yes.
can be a good stock car driver. So, with all of that said, we circle back around to a whole bunch of NASCAR stuff. If you've been living under a rock, and I hope you haven't, but in case you have, Bubba Wallace won the Brickyard 400 most recently for his first crown jewel victory. That should be the news in and of itself, end of story. But then, as it usually does, social media starts talking, and we go, oh, all this hemming and hawing about, he lucked into it, stretched the
Yeah.
fuel. Everybody, shut up. Bubba Wallace did not
Thank you.
fluke into this Brickyard 400 win. He beat Kyle Larson to do it. And oh, by the way, this has been building for a while. So, to anybody that thinks this was not a earned victory, I got 2 words for you. Shut up.
Yes, I agree. Totally. Stuff it. Bubba Wallace actually did a really nice job in this race. He was a contender basically a lot of the way through. And again, mileage was what mileage was, to his credit. And Kyle Larson had a couple chances at him, lined up next to him and could beat him. So Bubba Wallace earned every bit of this win. And I have to say that, just selfishly, I kind of enjoy the fact that 2311 got their charters taken away, and then 2311 goes and wins one of the crown jewel races on the NASCAR schedule as an open team, proving that the charter obviously is a financial loss for them in many ways, but it certainly isn't going to hurt performance, because Bubba Wallace was strong, and Tyler Reddick was pretty strong at Indy as well.
Absolutely, he was. And I sit back and say to myself, yes, 2311 was strong. Oh, by the way, Bubba qualified second before he dominated that race and eventually won it in the closing stages. So you had all of that as well. And in addition to, oh, by the way, Bubba Wallace not being a flash in the pan, you know who else wasn't a flash in the pan? Connor Zilisch, who now has 3 consecutive NASCAR Xfinity Series wins after Indianapolis. He was ultimately the one to deliver Junior Motorsports its 100th win in the Xfinity Series and become the 4th team to do that. And I think we all thought Connor Zilisch was going to be good coming into this year, but I'll admit, even I didn't think he was going to be this good. And he's shut a lot of people up really, really fast with how quickly he's taken to the ovals. And for those that, including me, that came into this year going, he'll be good, but he probably won't win a championship, I could have to start rethinking that statement now. Tom, can Connor Zilisch, as a rookie, win the Xfinity Series championship?
Yes, 100% yes. This kid is a generational talent of the likes of Kyle Larson. There, I said it. Do I need to say it again? Nah, just go back and rewind it and watch it again. Connor Zilisch is an amazing young talent. Not only can he win this championship, I'm going to go this far. If he gets the ride, and we all believe he will, in the 99 car replacing Daniel Suarez in the Cup Series, he may be the first driver in, I don't know when, Jacob, you probably know because you're a stat guy, to win an Xfinity championship one year and a Cup championship the following, because I do believe that that young man has the opportunity to go to the Cup Series, and again, with the current rules as they are, win his way into the playoffs and actually run for and potentially win a championship. I think he is that good of a talent. And here's the funny part. You know what we're seeing? We're going to F1.
Okay, we're going to. Wow, that was that was a transition the likes of which I wasn't expecting out of you, and I'm going to refute you and say no. I don't think that Justin Marks is ready to
Well, that's what the rumor
fight
mill
on
is
an.
talking about.
I
That's why I
I
said it
don't
the way I
buy
did.
that. I don't buy that yet. He's
Connor's
still too
interested.
busy.
I just don't see the scenario happening.
No, not when he's still got a MotoGP team to figure out. But anyway, I'll digress on that and say, just to answer your stat question, in consecutive years, it's never been done. So you want to talk about
Okay.
writing a piece of
He may be a
history?
first.
It's never been done in consecutive years, let alone as a rookie in both years. So,
Oh, good point.
I yeah. Oh, by the way, Cup championship in the modern era has never been won by a rookie. So let's throw the brakes on that. Connor's good. I'm not ready to say he's that good, but real quick, truck side, Lane Riggs wins at IRP down the road from the Brickyard, and Corey Heim locks up the regular season championship 2 races early in trucks, to nobody's surprise. He's been
Yeah.
that good this year. That the only thing of importance in that race, because Lane Riggs basically brought a bazooka to a knife fight in that IRP truck race. That's how good the 34 truck
Sure
was
did.
compared to everybody else. The only good conversation that came out of that race was the fact that the Xfinity Series needs to be back at IRP like 4 years ago. But that's a discussion
Yeah.
for another time. The Xfinity Series news from over the weekend, and rightly so, was Austin Hill getting parked for Iowa Speedway and losing all of his regular season playoff points for wrecking Eric Almirola on the Saturday at Indianapolis. And whether it was malicious, well thought out, or just one of those spur of the moment things, he right hooked him at a big, fast, downforce racetrack. Tom, I don't believe there was any other outcome than this. Do you?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, and I'm also glad that they started the whole penalty process by putting him on pit road for a few laps and making him sit and think
Five
about
laps
it.
to be
Yeah,
exact.
5 laps. Yeah, I mean, and making him think about it. I mean, I just, quite honestly, if they hadn't suspended him, this would have been an open invitation for more of this. Number one,
Yes.
NASCAR, I don't think NASCAR can have too severe a penalty for someone right hooking. And I think honestly, and I've seen a lot of talk about this on social and on some of the other podcasts, they should have immediately just black flagged his butt and put him in the garage area. He should have been done for the day and then suspend him for a race, take his playoff points. We've got to stop this, nip this in the bud, because it is just getting out of control and somebody's going to get seriously hurt. You can see just by the replays here the viciousness of this crash and this hit, Jacob. I have no qualms whatsoever with saying that this was the least penalty that Austin Hill should have got, and I think the next one ought to get double and keep doubling it until the drivers all figure out, gee, maybe the risk is way higher than the reward here. Maybe we ought to just learn to control our tempers a little better.
Well, in the dictionary, the definition of the word irony is next to a picture of Austin Hill, because this is the same Austin Hill that after the disastrous Martinsville race back in the spring stood up in front of a meeting of the NASCAR Xfinity Series drivers before Darlington and said, "We need to cool our jets a bit and stop doing all this stupid stuff." Well,
Yeah.
Austin, you just did the stupid stuff. So
Yeah.
that is what it is.
Oops.
I was glad to see the penalty, like you said. If not, what are we even doing? I also want to give a quick sprint car shout out, and we'll have a lot more to talk about on our next show going into the coverage of the Knoxville Nationals. But Justin Sanders, we talked about Aaron Reitzel having a broken foot in our last
Yes.
show. California's Justin Sanders going to be in for Aaron Reitzel for the 410 Nationals, which comes up August 6th through the 9th at Knoxville Raceway in Iowa. It's a great choice in my mind. It's a well-deserved spotlight on the national stage for a guy who's done everything there is to do in the state of
Yeah,
California. And
I agree.
just like several of the other sprint car drivers that, have been injured recently as well, want to send well wishes to Aaron on his continued recovery as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's a great choice. I think he's going to do well, and we wish him all the luck in the world. It's always a tough circumstance to replace a driver like that in that scenario, but I think they picked the right choice. I agree. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got more of the Tom Baker Show right after this.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
Welcome back to the show as we keep rolling on. And Jacob, we're going to go back to IndyCar for a second because the Pelot show, which is a Japanese bullet train lately, just keeps rolling on in the IndyCar series, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. That is now 8 wins on the season for Alex Palou of Spain, with 3 races left and the record of 10 still potentially within reach before all is said and done. 8 of 14 in any season is just an unreal stat, but I think the fact that it's 8 of 14 when Alex Palou has just utterly dominated so many of these races is what stands out the most to me. You want to use the word generational in a sentence with Connor Zilisch. I think it equally applies on the American open wheel side with Alex Palou. He is a generational open wheel talent right now. And I think we're seeing in IndyCar why Alex Palou should not have been passed up by Formula One teams when his name was in conversation there, because I think with the right F1 team, he would be absolutely demolishing people around the world right now. But as it is in IndyCar, he is just absolutely on his way to a 4th championship in 5 years. It's a run the likes of which I can't ever remember seeing just from a domination standpoint, but I think it's probably the most dominant I've seen of anybody in American IndyCar racing since Dario Franchitti in the late 2000s, when he was with, ironically, the same team that Palou's with now in Chip Ganassi Racing.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say a huge shout out and thank you to all the F1 teams that passed on Alex Palou so that he could come over here and regale us with his prowess in the IndyCar series, because we need him. We need more Alex Palous, and it's good to see some of these drivers that just don't have the money, frankly, to buy F1 rides, fit in IndyCar and have great careers, and Alex is certainly one. And we're seeing Callum Ilott and Robert Schwartzman and some others that are doing a really nice job. Prema's got
Marcus
their team
Armstrong,
going. I
too.
mean, I love. Yeah, Marcus Armstrong. Yeah, you're exactly correct. I mean, I think it's great. And look, people obviously get tired of any winner that wins too much, right? But in this case, we haven't seen a season like this in IndyCar in a little while. Scott Dixon's had a few, and obviously you go back through the years and other drivers, but man, Alex is just on a roll. And you know how you stop Alex? Take him to the finish line. I think it's great for the series to have a rabbit like this that everybody's trying to chase, because again,
Yeah.
it's a great storyline to following.
It is. Journalism was built in some cases and in some eras on dominance, and that's what we're seeing right
Yeah.
now in
Yep.
Alex Palou. You know what? I love writing about history just as much as anybody else. So, we've got that. I also like writing about rumors and potential things becoming reality, and that is what we're getting to in what we hope will be soon a 2026 schedule release for the
Yep.
NTT IndyCar Series. We know that there is, I would say, a 99% certainty that Iowa is not coming back. So there's 2 holes to be filled.
Boo.
I know, I have opinions on that we don't have enough
I
time
don't
left in
really,
this
I'm not
show
good at
for
hissing, so
yeah,
I can't
there's
hiss
not
very
enough
well,
time left
but
in this show for me to
I
get
can't
into my
throw
opinion as
things, but
to what happened with Iowa. I know there's
not good.
talk about Mexico City. Will they, won't they? I don't think anything's going to happen racing wise in Mexico City for 2026, just because that
I actually
city
do.
is so. Uh, well, outside of Formula One, which is very late in the year, I just don't think NASCAR we know NASCAR's not going there in 26, but I don't think an IndyCar 2026 move is going to happen, just because there's so much build up to the World Cup that I just don't see how you make that work in the time frame that they have.
We'll
I
see.
could be wrong.
I think
I could be
Fox
wrong. I
wants it
think
to
Mexico.
happen. We'll see if they can make it work.
I think so too. I agree with that. Now, that being said, I would prefer more oval tracks. The problem is, where do you go with
Yes.
that? If NASCAR is bringing Chicago back for 2026, which is a very, very much growing rumor that that's going to happen next year over July 4th weekend, could we see an IndyCar return? Yes, please, because Chicagoland put on some of the greatest
They
finishes
did.
in IndyCar history when it was on the calendar. Phoenix coming back, could that be a possibility? I'd love to see it. Where else I would love to see? Homestead. Somebody book an IndyCar race
Please.
at Homestead
Yes.
like yesterday. Homestead and
Yes.
Chicago. If we could get the 2 Iowa races replaced at Chicagoland and Homestead, I might actually forgive IndyCar for some of the street course races that they've put on the schedule over the last couple of years, because just those 2 races alone would make me a happy camper.
Yeah, Homestead, I had thought about that. I think Homestead would make a great IndyCar track, actually. You got Chicagoland out there. I mean,
They
you
used to
can
start
go
the
back.
season at Homestead.
Yeah. I mean, you can go back to Pocono if you want to. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I know everybody says they don't draw bunches of fans, but let me just put this thought in everybody's head here. NASCAR has fully converted to TV first. Okay. In other words, they're more concerned with what television wants and making good TV than they are the crowd in the grandstand anymore. And with Fox buying into IndyCar, don't be surprised if that starts to be the thing.
Exactly.
And if it does,
Exactly.
there's some of these tracks, these oval tracks. Michigan always put on great IndyCar racing. I'd love to see this current car back there. So I think there's a lot of ovals they could go to. The question is, do they want to?
Yeah, I think that really is the ultimate question, and we will see exactly where that goes. I've got one more nugget in my brain here on my side of the
Okay.
screen, Tom, and it's regarding F1. And I think back about 8 or 9 years to the mid 2010s, where you had the ill-fated Honda engine deal with McLaren at the time. Funny that we're talking about two
Yeah.
entities that at one time were
Yep.
together and terrible in F1, and now both separately are pretty darn good in IndyCar. But
Yes.
regardless, at that time, McLaren was the literal bottom of the barrel and basically dead last in the Constructors' Championship. And now here they are in position to potentially, if they keep on their current clip, lock up the constructors this year earlier than any team in the history, 70 years of Formula One racing. To me, I just look at that, I chuckle, and I go, oh, how quick we remember just how bad you guys were not all that long ago. What Zach Brown's done to turn McLaren around is great.
Oh,
Unlike the flip side of that coin, where Lewis Hamilton went from Mercedes to Ferrari and went, oof, goodbye.
yeah, I was just gonna say that the two big stories in F1 for me this year are just McLaren's utter dominance so far of the series, and the fact that Lewis Hamilton is now basically on the side of a milk carton. Everybody's trying to find him. You'd think if you go over to Ferrari, you'd be relevant. He went over to Ferrari and fell off the cliff. Um,
He's
I
not
just
even
don't
in
know
the
what's
same
happened to them.
conversation of his teammate, Charles Leclerc. Like, at
I
least Charles has
know.
been running on the podium. Lewis has been nowhere.
Yeah, and it's weird. I don't see a lot of commentary about that. It's like everybody expected it except me. I thought he'd go over and at least do what he was doing at Mercedes, but I mean, a lot could change obviously in 2020. What is it? 2026. The new cars come out.
26. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot could change obviously, but right now he's not competitive at all, honestly,
No, he's
and
not.
it's just crazy to
Not even
see.
close.
But yeah, McLaren's been incredible. I mean, they've just really, on all counts, IndyCar, F1, Zach Brown is a genius, and he has to be given a lot of credit. He's made the right moves, put the right people in place in both series to be able to come out a champion.
Yep.
And it's
Yes, he
showing
has.
on the track.
Hey,
I mean,
dear McLaren, lock up the constructors very, very quickly, because I want to see a Lando versus Oscar championship battle unleashed once there's no chance that anybody can steal the team's title from them.
yeah, I mean, that's we got a glimpse of that last year, and we wondered if that would happen this year, and it has. And it's not that Max Verstappen is not somewhat still in it, but he is not the favorite at this point. I mean, it's funny how McLaren is just eclipsed Red Bull, and gosh, Red Bull's got some issues. I don't know if you'll see Max back. They're saying the latest I see is that he's going to come back in 26, but I mean, Yuki hasn't been great. So, gosh, interesting,
It's a car
Jake.
problem,
It'll
not
be
a
fun to
driver
watch.
problem.
I
It's a
agree.
car
Yeah,
problem.
I agree. All right. So, Jacob Seelman, great to have you back as always. And that will wrap things up for another Tom Baker show. Boy, these shows go by fast. Want to thank all of our sponsors. Thank all of you for listening. For more great content, steeringwheelnation.com is our website. We at the Wheel Nation on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to talk with me personally, you can follow me at Tom Baker TV on Instagram and also on LinkedIn. And we have got something that we're going to be announcing in the next week or two here that should be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about it. We hope you are too. Until next time, I'm Tom Baker. Thanks for watching.